no good. Rebounded by Anthony. 2 seconds left. Anthony for the win. Cody throws it. Cole Anthony gives the Magic a victory.
Close Up Magic.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Close Up Magic. I'm your host, Stephen Cameron. Today, we got a really fun episode today. We got my man, CJ Hill. Y'all are familiar with him. He is our local correspondent for media game days that we attend and does some other cool content stuff with us. Helps us a lot on the back end, which is really awesome. Before we get to him, just going to get into all the housekeeping stuff. First off, just want to remind you all, if you want to financially support the show, there's two ways you can do it. The first way is you can buy some Close Up Magic merch, like, as I almost fall out of my chair, this hat. This hat is dope. If you're watching on YouTube, it fits nicely. I wear it all the time. No real sweat marks. Nice stamp on the front. Check it out. We got tons of stuff. We got hats. We got sweaters. We got polos. We got all sorts of things for you. Also, if you're looking on YouTube, I threw that hat like perfectly and it landed on my bed with the logo facing the camera. That's pretty awesome. Anyways, back to the other thing. If another way you can financially support the show is by subscribing to our Patreon channel. We have 2 tiers. We are about to be opening up a 3rd tier, which will probably be our most accessible tier. When I say most accessible, I mean it will be our cheapest tier. We are ramping up that program. I say that often, but we really are, and that's because we're ramping up our Discord program. CJ and we are going to be doing weekly streaming of a game. Once a week, we're going to select a random game, probably starting next week. And either myself and CJ, or just CJ or just myself, once a week, we're going to be streaming the game on Discord. And anyone that's a part of the Discord can participate and hang out with us, talk live with the game. Be frustrated, be excited, vent, joke around, have fun with us. So that's what we're going to be doing starting probably next week. We'll announce what game we are going to stream. But the only way you can be a part of those streams is if you're a part of the Discord. So head over to our Discord. You can find our Patreon. Find a level that works for you to support the show, and you'll get an invite to the Discord. It's pretty dope. And then the other ways you can help us that are not necessarily financially is you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can leave us a 5-star review on whatever audio platform you are listening to. And you can also just share this with a friend. We would really appreciate that. Shout out to 19 Media Group that makes this podcast run. That's our network. All right. I've done the housekeeping. We're just going to bring CJ up and get this thing popping. CJ, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Good, brother. How you doing?
Dude, I cannot complain. We are recording this Monday directly after the Orlando Magic beat the Chicago Bulls. A nice game. We were in the lead basically the entire time, 100-91. That's a good feeling to jump right into a podcast for. I love it, man.
Took care of business.
Dude, we did take care of business. There's obviously some things to get frustrated about. That second unit was really rough offensively. It was not a pretty unit, with Cole Anthony being a last-minute scratch. He had some wrist injury. Like, not injury, but his wrist was bothering him. There's no real context to what happened. So without Cole, second unit didn't have a lot of spacing, not as much organization. Little rough, but overall, CJ, you watched the game. What is something that stood out to you in general?
Bo being more aggressive. I feel like when Cole's not in, Bo can be a little bit more aggressive, can kind of take on the scoring load, do his thing a little bit, not kind of hijack the second unit when Cole's out there. So, it flows a little bit better. I mean, I think with Jalen and J.I. and then Mo Wagner doing their thing, or Mo Wagner doing their thing, kind of lets Bo just run wild, bowler coaster, you know what I mean? So
he does the bowler coaster.
Yeah. Normally when he does a bowler coaster with Cole out there, they kind of like clashing. Who wants to outdo the other? So, I mean, it was pretty good. I think they did a pretty good job tonight.
Yeah, there wasn't too much to complain about Bull. I did like to see, I actually enjoyed his technical foul, show some emotion,
Yes.
get angry, get upset. Yes, for sure. To me, what stood out was just a nice stabilizing game from Markel Fultz. He was just like the orchestrating wizard out there. He was one assist away from a triple double. He had 10 rebounds, 9 assists, and 18 points. Missed both of his 3-pointers, but that doesn't really matter because he was 8 from 15 from the field, hit both his free throws. Just a really well-controlled game. Didn't have any turnovers or any personal fouls. Just a very clean game from him. Smart cuts, smart passes, collapsing defenses, just everything you want to see him do while dishing out, the ball to guy, hitting shots, which is really nice. Another 22-point game for Paulo. That dude, is it even surprising now when he breaks 20?
No, it's more like kind of like a disappointment now when he doesn't get 20. It's like,
yeah,
dude, what are you doing? But I like the fact that now he's starting to rebound. So like when he doesn't score 20 points, he probably had like 10 rebounds or 10 or 11 rebounds. Like,
yeah,
so
no, I feel that.
I think him finding that perfect balance because he has to do so much offensively. So now if he could just balance it out, especially with Kel starting to pick up a little bit more of the scoring load, hopefully Paulo can be like maybe 18 and 10 or 17 and 9 or something like that.
He's got a long ways to go to like bring up his averages because he went so long with so low. But and even a game like tonight, he only had 4 rebounds. But you do see him putting a little bit more of an effort there. And tonight too, he also did have a nice defensive effort, which was really nice. But to me, I don't know, man. You and I have talked about this on the side. You can Franz. This is their wall that they're hitting right now, in my opinion. These last week or so, where they've just looked a little off. This is the most games Paulo's ever played. Franz played all summer with Germany. In a big tournament over summer, and all last season. So he hasn't had hardly any rest. And we're a game away from All-Star break, but they're both in the Rising Stars. So yeah, obviously they're not going to have all the crazy games, and Rising Stars is a joke, and it's not going to be super stressful for them. So it's not they're going to get some rest, but they're also probably going to party a little bit and have some late nights, and
for sure.
But hopefully it's a good mental reset for them and their body physically to kind of come back after All-Star break and feel pretty feel strong and rested. You gonna watch the All-Star game or the Rising Stars game with Paulo and Franz?
I'll watch the Rising Stars, and then I'll probably Saturday night. That'll be it. I don't ever watch the actual game. I think to me it's not. I wouldn't say it's boring, but it's kind of like nobody's gonna play hard. So,
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. What was that?
Oh, I'll say even now, the dunk contest, it's I'm gonna for sure watch the 3-point contest, but then when it gets to the dunk contest, it's gonna be I might skip it, but
No, I hear you. I definitely for me, All-Star week is a time for me to also reset a little bit. And so if it's convenient and I have nothing else going on, I'll gladly watch it. I'll definitely check out what our boys do in the Rising Stars games. I will, check out the highlights from the All-Star game if I don't actually watch it, which, it's kind of 50-50 if I actually do per season.
Yeah.
And then, skills competitions, I'll catch skill and 3-point. I'll catch highlights if there's anything that I hear of crazy. Dunk contest, I like to watch if I can live. I think it's pretty fun.
Right.
But again, I'll just rewatch the highlights. It's not I'm not oh man, I have to watch it. But it is nice when I can catch it. It just depends. If my wife and I are excited about a movie, I'll easily turn that on first. So, but it is exciting that the Magic have 2 guys in the competition, the All-Star break. Paulo, he had a really strong case to actually be in the All-Star game, but I understand why he didn't. But man, that was close. It's pretty cool, just the fact that he was talked about so much.
Yeah, maybe one more injury away from being a reserve. I mean, that's pretty good for being a rookie, especially on the Magic when we got actually absolutely no coverage until he got drafted. So
absolutely, and had the Magic not had that horrible 5-20 start, even if we were just closer to I'm not whatever, just a more competent team during that time. That might have been enough to get him a little bit more publicity towards all that. But who knows? Happy for him. It's been a great season for him. Looking forward to All-Star break. Since our last episode, the Magic have played 4 games. They've played they've gone 2-2. They lost to the Knicks. They won against the Nuggets. They lost to the Heat, and then tonight they just beat the Bulls. The Nuggets one was nice. The Knicks loss was not fun, and the Heat loss was disappointing. That's kind of how I'm going to describe those. Any of those games particular stand out to you for anything good or bad?
I want to say good. Beating the Nuggets is always a good thing. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
I think we're to the point now where it's like we play up to the competition and then also we play down. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So,
absolutely.
And that also shows you that we're kind of turning the corner from being just a bad team to now like middle of the pack team to making the next step to being actually, the playoff / contender type team. And I think losing to the Knicks, like that's always, I don't know, it just rubs me wrong. I think we're better than them, as far as talent goes. So not really competing against them when we're supposed to, getting up for games that we're supposed to get up for. But that just comes with consistency because we're so young. But hopefully next year.
The thing about the Knicks game though is, it's not like it wasn't a blowout. It was a close game. It came down towards the wire. The Knicks are a good team this year. I actually like their squad. Don't love their coach. But Julius Randle's playing really well this year. Jalen Brunson, has been as good as advertised, if not better than what he was last year. With the Mavs, they got a good squad. But I think that just comes with imagine the beginning of the year if we just said, this team's going to play 500 basketball, which we kind of have been playing 500 basketball for the last 20 or so games. It's it's pretty ridiculous. And 500 teams, they win some, they lose some. They, particularly to other 500 teams, it's, they're 500 for a reason. So, to me, what I notice most about all these is really, we've been in every single game. Like the Heat game, we had a chance. The Knicks game, it was close. I don't know if I ever felt confident we were gonna win, but it felt close. Obviously we had a fairly comfortable win versus the Nuggets, and then tonight we held the lead. We never really let them get much past 10 points. I think at one point they were like 8 or 9 points in the fourth quarter, 7 or something like that, but nothing like too crazy. It's just been nice to have some professional wins, as I'd like to say.
Right. Taking care of business.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, Magic fans, probably by the time you listen to us next, we will have played, the Raptors tomorrow night, or probably today when you are listening to this. And then the next game, I'm pulling up the schedule right now. So tomorrow will be the 14th of February. The next game is not until the February 23rd. So, a little bit over a week. And you're going to have Detroit Pistons coming up, Indiana Pacers, New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans just lost Zion for a bit longer. His hamstring is bothering him. Our strength of schedule, I believe. Hold on, I wasn't planning. I didn't even think about this until just now. So I'm going to pull it up real fast. What is that?
20. I think yeah, 20, 21, 22, or 20, 21.
I think so too. I'm pulling it up right now. Remaining schedule strength. This is per tankathon. So for the rest of the season, the Magic are sitting at 19th hardest schedule remaining, which is a big drop compared to being a top 10, top 5 team in the schedule for, most of the season. So,
Right.
we're going to end the season on some nice wins. I think it's going to be, unless the front office gets a little funky and starts playing some people a little bit longer than they should, which could happen. I don't expect it, but it could. This Magic team's going to get some W's going down the stretch. And so, at this point, I expect them to crack 30 wins, which is pretty cool, which is, I always thought from the beginning of the year, we were in that 28 to 32 win window. I think 32 is the bottom now. It's, it should not be hard for us to get 9 more wins to end this season. So, there's 21 games left of the season. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I'm not going to count. You guys don't need to hear me count. But yeah, there's roughly like 20 or so games left of the season. Sorry, I don't have, dude, I'm an idiot. People, I appreciate you holding on for a second. We can do some math. All right.
Once you get to late March, early April, when the playoff season is kind of set, I think you'll see like most playoff teams like rest their guys, and we'll probably sneak a couple wins in there and then reach that 32 point.
We have 24 games left, people. I apologize for being an idiot. Thank you for staying with us while we figured that out. Yeah, man, it's going to be fun, man. I think we're definitely going to have some good wins along the way to end this season. I don't know if we're going to make the play-in, but we're definitely going to be in the conversation for it as far as giving these guys something to play for the rest of the season. What are your thoughts on us making the play-in? Do you think it's something that's going to happen? It sounds like the team wants it. What are your thoughts on this Magic team actually making the play-in?
We're 3 or 4 games back now. If we take care of business tomorrow night, that obviously helps us out a lot because Toronto's ahead of us. But, like I just said, once you get to the point in like late March, early April, when the top teams have already got their, the 1 through 6 seeds are kind of already set. If we're playing anybody like that, obviously they're going to sit their good guys and give them some rest. So, we could stick a couple games in there. So I think, we'll catch around. The Wizards, I don't see them hanging tough. They always just fall out at the end of the year. Who else is there?
The Bulls and the Pacers.
Pacers, I don't see them. I think they're fading.
They're fading. We should be able to.
I think they'll give it a run for the money if Halliburton's back, but we still got a lot of games left. Injuries could happen. Like I said, teams resting their best players, so we probably can, sneak in there. But even if we don't, going from the worst pick to in the mix, that's exactly where we need to be. That's tremendous progress.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. I think right now even if the season ended today, which obviously it's not, like, you can tell this team has made a lot of progress and growth, and it's automatically a win in my book. For me, the play-in is a little challenging, CJ, because like for us to have made it easily, or not easily, but for us to have made it, there was a lot of hope that Toronto Raptors were going to blow it up or the Chicago Bulls were going to blow it up. And neither of those teams blew it up at the deadline. Raptors got better by adding Jakob Poeltl. Chicago Bulls haven't done anything. They're rumored to potentially be in the mix for Russell Westbrook once his buyout is complete, but who knows? That's kind of a weird fit defensively. There's not much there. So you just don't. For me, I just find it really hard for us to like.
Right.
Toronto, I don't know. It's just hard. Those blow it up, So like easy jump is the Pacers because we're 1 game behind them, but the Bulls and the Raptors, I don't know if it's going to be as easy for us to get those jumps. But we'll see.
Gotcha.
We'll see. What is nice though is even if we miss the play-in, man, like this team is playing for something. They are at least for the next 10 games or so until things get a little bit more clear about if we're going to make the play-in. there's a will for these guys to want to play compared to like last year after All-Star break. Tanks started happening pretty hard, man. Year before that, same thing. The team knows there's not much to play for. That will to want to, really just destroy it and have that intensity is not there. Where now it is going to be there, which is awesome. You want this team to have, kind of ending this season, really giving the front office something to evaluate and get as much information and data as they can, which this is a great year now that we're finally healthy to do that. It's funny, man. Speaking of health, we almost had a fully healthy roster today until Cole Anthony was that late scratch, because Chuma Okeke he was recalled from the G League and he was actively available for the today, except obviously he did not get playing time. Caleb Houston got playing time over KK, but we could see Chuma Okeke tomorrow when Jonathan Isaac likely does not play his back-to-back versus the Raptors. So that will be fun to see kind of where he's at as a player and what he can do and bring us. It's been a while since we've seen Chuma, man. What are your thoughts on Chuma? Are you psyched on him? Are you not psyched on him? I have mixed feelings. What are your thoughts on Chuma, man?
I'm kind of mixed. I think I said this a couple times in the chat. It's like, we always get we're stacking these high picks and we're gathering all these different assets. And it's like, you still have guys on the roster that you need to develop. But if we're constantly bringing in first round picks and stuff like that, it's like, you got to move these guys out. You know what I mean? I think Chuma, into the bench guy, him and, with J.I. on the minutes restriction, you can kind of let him play a little bit, especially if J.I. doesn't do back-to-back. So you can kind of test the water and see what he got. And, I mean, Bowl and Chuma are kind of like fighting for a spot, in my opinion. Caleb,
that's fair.
It's a lot of depth. Like, got Caleb. I mean, we got 2 first-round picks and then a second-round pick this summer. So you're bringing in 3 guys, like
plus our cap space,
right? Plus, yeah. So it's kind of like, he's a quality player. He's an NBA player, but it's like, if we got all these different assets coming in, like, somebody got to go. So I like him. Yeah. He defends 3-and-D, doesn't do too much, stays in his lane. I mean, how I feel about guys that just stay in your lane. Like, don't do too much, keep it simple. So I
like Chuma too. He and like you said, he knows his role and he stays within it, which is really nice. But he's got to get that shot consistent, and unless his shot is consistent, then then I'm not sure. He's a smart defender, which is really nice. So he is a nice 2-way player in theory, but he's injured constantly, and he's just like, his shot is not consistent half the time. He started last season horrible, but then ended in the last season really well. This start of this season was not good shooting. It's just been a really up and down for someone who was supposed to be a good shooter coming out of college. The consistency for him has not been there. And maybe part of that is injuries and lack of consistency within his role. But, then you got a guy like Caleb Houston who, can play well off movement, doesn't need the ball much, got a beautiful release and is shooting really well, is projecting to be a good defender. It's like, at some point they have to prioritize who they want to develop and who is either going to be traded off the team or just going to sit on the bench and not develop in games. And I could see Chuma kind of like fitting into that. He's good to keep around because, he plays a coveted position, 2-way wing length, positional defensive versatility, in theory, a good shooter. But, every team wants depth with those types of players, but like, I'm not sure they're going to prioritize his playing time over, some of these other people, like you've been suggesting, like Caleb, like, right now, Bowl to an extent, J.I., these potential first round picks that are coming in. So it's like, where does he fit long term? I'm not sure, but I'm glad he's back, and I'm glad we can figure it out because having him healthy is better than not having him healthy. So we'll see what happens.
Sure.
Let's transition, man. So trade deadline just passed. What were your hopes for the trade deadline versus what we actually did?
I was hoping that we would get more. I mean, I knew we weren't going to get anything for Ross. I mean, we held on to him way too long. I understand that you need vets on the team, but I feel like we should have, when we clean house with Evan and Vooch, we should have just, did him a good service too. Keeping him 2 years really didn't do much for us, other than like babysitting Cole and the rest of the kids. But I was hoping that we kind of could have got into like some of the other trades because it was crazy. Like 5 second round picks got you. What was his name?
Wiseman.
Sadiq Bey. You got Sadiq Bey for 5 second round picks. Like, come on, man. Like I thought we could get in there, but overall, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like I just said a few seconds ago. Like we got 3 picks this summer. 3 guys got to go out, so 3 guys can come in. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm just cool with it. It is what it is. Like cap space, I think draft night and free agency this summer is where we do our thing.
Yeah, I feel that. As I was talking to, some other media people over the last couple of weeks, and just kind of evaluating where this team is at and trying to put my head on how Jeff Weltman and John Hammond were approaching the deadline. I was starting to think it was going to be a quieter deadline for us too. I'm thinking what team out there is going to go give up a second round pick for Terrence Ross when they know he's a likely buyout candidate? Probably not many. What team is going to go out there and offer a second round pick for RJ Hampton when he's going to be a free agent this summer and there's probably not going to be a ton of competition for him this summer, and they can just go sign him then.
On RJ for like $4 million because that's what he's gonna make next year. So
yeah, I mean they can make it. They can offer him way less than that too with him being a free agent. So it's like if you trade for him, you're kind of like there are some restrictions on what you can pay him. So I just didn't think there was gonna be much of a market for those guys. And we'll get into let's like Mo Bamba. Like we kind of knew he was gonna get traded. And I think there was some disappointment in that trade for some. Considering like the salary match was just a player. We basically traded, for those that didn't know, we traded Mo Bamba for Pat Beverly. A Lakers sent over a second round pick, which happened to be the 2029 Denver second. And then they sent over about $2 million in cash. Which is basically the difference in buyout salary between Mo Bamba and Pat Beverly. Pat Beverly was never asked to report to Orlando. They just bought him out straight up. And so essentially we got a second round pick for Mo Bamba, which is fine. I think in theory, I think what annoys me is how bad did we need that second round pick? Like for me, like with how we have control over that contract, I would have like tried to maybe hold on to him a little bit longer and used him as a salary match in the summer when maybe the front office was more willing to make a larger move. But in theory, this is fine. It doesn't really matter. If they want to find salary match for a bigger move, they have Gary Harris. There's some other little things that they can figure out. But it is what it is. So yeah, we got second round pick for our moves for the listeners. We have second round pick from Mo Bamba. We waived Patrick Beverly that came back in that deal. We waived Terrence Ross. We did not trade him, and they're in the process of waiving RJ Hampton as well. Looks like Terrence Ross is going to sign with the Phoenix Suns with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. They lost some depth with losing Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges, so that's going to be a nice little landing spot for Terrence Ross. I'm really psyched there. I don't know where Pat Bev's going to go, but it doesn't really matter. Magic legend, who cares? And RJ, man, I think we all agree that he just go to a home that's going to give him an opportunity to fit into the rotation because he kind of got a weird deal this year with the Magic.
Yeah, I want him to stay as far away from Houston as possible. Like I agree. The whole Texas, that's home, but go to Dallas. Don't go to Houston.
I agree. Don't go to. There's just no stability at that franchise either, man. Like, just go to a team that's going to have a little bit of stability, so you don't get in trouble. And which not that he's ever had a trouble mindset here in Orlando, but like, just go to a team that's got a little bit of stability, a good culture, and that's going to give you a good opportunity. I don't know if if that's going to happen, but we'll see. We did today. We actually signed someone to one of our open roster spots. We signed, I'm going to butcher this man's name, so I apologize. Gorga Bitadze. Bitadze.
It's Goga Batiz. Batiza.
Goga Batiz. That sounds way better than what I said. Yeah, that sounds. Batiz sounds way better. But he was a big man that was drafted a couple of years ago by the Pacers. I think he was a late first round pick, actually. And we signed him to a 2-year deal, team option on the next year. So the remainder of this season, then we have a team option for him next year, which is pretty cool. Most guys that you get on the buyout market, like this, you don't give them multi-year deals. So it's kind of nice that, granted, in my opinion, he probably didn't have much leverage. I doubt he had much like interest on the market. But for the front office to say, hey, come join us and we'll give you a 2-year deal with our option on the second year, like, that's pretty good in my opinion. Smart move. Low risk, probably a low value contract as far as how much money they gave him. So I'm pretty psyched on that. He's a big man center that essentially can play a little bit of drop coverage defense and in theory can hit some threes, but hasn't had a good fit with the Pacers. So maybe it's like one of those players that just needs a fresh scene. I don't know if he's going to get in the rotation. We'll see.
Yeah, I think he's like on the lines of the bowl, like, just come on in here, see what you can do. We need a 7-footer. We need rim protection, so I think he's perfect for us. And it might be another situation where... Go ahead.
No, you finish. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was saying it might be a situation where, like with us, we bring in so many different draft picks in, pre-draft. So it might be a situation where he was one of the guys that we brought in and already got some information on and was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, he's, we can get him for little to nothing. So come on in. He's like 23. So there's a little bit of room for growth. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't mind it at all. It's fine, and also think about this too. I was thinking about this. Wendell Carter's likely going to miss some games here and there for the rest of the season with his foot until he decides to get that sorted out. When those games were missed, Bamba was a starter or he was, playing heavier minutes in the backup. So that's where Gorga will get his moment and when Wendell Carter takes some rest. So we will likely see him at some point this season, which will be cool. I would guess they probably, I don't know. Maybe they don't, I don't know. They'll have him probably come to Orlando sooner than later.
Yeah.
Probably not too much of a rush considering they're about to hit All-Star break, but that's nice. It's nice to see them taking a very low-risk flyer and not just signing like some washed veteran. So,
exactly.
Yes, sir.
Capitalizing on another asset. Like, we got cash. Yep. We just got $2 million from the Lakers. Just throw it to old Goga.
We're gonna be good. Just keep giving cash. We got it. So. Well, man, I think that wraps it up for us. Short episode this week, people. We appreciate you, but mostly that's because All-Star break, we only got one game ahead. CJ, I appreciate you joining the show. Fans, stay tuned. We sent our request into Orlando Magic Media to cover a bunch of games for the rest of the year. So we are going to continue to do our game day threads. We don't do them every game. We just do them on games that we cover in person. And there's a lot of home games. I don't remember off the top of my head, maybe like 5 to 8 more home games to end the season, and which means we'll have some fun content just for you, that we give you a different look and perspective and Yeah, we hope you enjoy it. So stay tuned to the Close Up Magic. Enjoy the All-Star break, and we will catch you next week. Peace.